I am Samuel Davis. Connecting with others has never been my strong suit, a trait that's been with me since childhood. My introverted nature has left me with only a few friends. Job interviews are a struggle, and my part-time attempts have fallen flat. Instead, I've been lending a hand to my grandfather's endeavors ever since I was young. He's a farmer, residing nearby, while I share a home with my mother, the sole breadwinner due to her delicate health. My grandpa once shared encouraging words, "Samuel, your efforts are invaluable. Having you around makes a world of difference." In a life where fitting in was a challenge, even facing bullying from peers, having a place where I belonged held immense significance. During my years as a middle school student, I delved into independent studies on farming. The tales spun by my grandpa were captivating and far more engaging than the classroom assignments. As the crossroads of my future loomed, the prospect of becoming a farmer gained prominence. Academic pursuits in high school might not suit me, and given our family's modest means, an early entry into the workforce seemed wise. The hope of eventually taking over the farm, lightening the load for both Grandpa and Mom, anchored my decision-making. Thus, after completing middle school, I embraced the path of a farmer. One day, my grandfather's serious expression accompanied his words, "You're a bright youngster. You could succeed as a farmer, but is that truly fulfilling?" In earlier times, a good harvest sufficed for a business to thrive, even for the reserved. Today, that won't suffice. Artful communicators seal the best deals. In essence, it's challenging for an introvert like me to prosper financially. Certainly, if two individuals vended equally excellent produce, I'd favor the more outgoing one. Nowadays, even agriculture demands networking and assertive promotion. Cultivating exquisite crops loses meaning without effective salesmanship. I must conquer my timidity, I resolved. During one of these reflections, a notice for a middle school reunion arrived. I didn't feel particularly enthused, yet my grandpa urged, "This could be a chance to overcome your shyness. Give it a try." So, I decided to attend. The reunion site was packed, abuzz with people. As I entered, I found myself alone, scanning the scene without a conversation partner. That's when a striking woman at the forefront captured my attention. She was remarkably attractive with a graceful form, clad in a stylish, elegant brown dress. Did we have such a classmate? Graduation was a considerable time ago, her name escapes me. Likewise, she probably doesn't remember me either. While I pondered, a tap on my back interrupted my thoughts. "Samuel, Michelle." The voice belonged to Michelle Johnson, a hometown classmate from elementary school. Michelle was well known. Her father led a prominent corporation. She embodied the quintessential CEO's daughter. Oddly, Michelle chose to sit beside me, attracting other classmates to gather around her. Each of them had matured into fashion-savvy individuals, leaving me feeling self-conscious in my plain attire. Despite my attempts to remain on the fringe of conversation, Michelle's voice rang out. "Remember when you were on a tractor the other day?" "Yeah, been farming since middle school." "Really? A farmer fresh out of middle school? No wonder I mistook you for a grandpa when you walked in." Hilarious. She intentionally declared this aloud, making it seem like everyone present was privy to the information. Their glances held a mixture of pity and mockery, as if they had stumbled upon some amusing gossip. "Even farmers are stylish these days, but you're an exception, Samuel." "Well, I don't have many clothes." "I had a feeling, haha." Everyone burst into laughter, led by Michelle. It was a familiar scenario. She had been teasing and taunting me for as long as I could recall. While I understood her behavior during our school years, I struggled to comprehend why someone like her would still target me. Amidst the chatter, a female classmate turned to Michelle. "Hey Michelle, isn't that famous actress doing a commercial for your dad's company? Will you meet her?" "Yeah, it's not a big deal." "Awesome. Have you met her? She was in a recent magazine." The conversation flowed, once again excluding me. Eventually, Michelle suggested, "Why not gather for drinks again with the same group? Let's plan for next month." "Sounds good. Count me in." "Samuel, you should join too." As she called my name, I could almost hear the collective "why him" echoing silently among them. Despite her history of mocking, I couldn't fathom why she'd want me around. I need to use the restroom, I muttered, escaping the cold stares by leaving the table. Moments later, laughter erupted from the table, and I felt like their amusement was directed at me, weighing heavily on my spirit. Upon returning from the restroom, I avoided my former seat and chose a corner, sipping my drink alone. Then, the woman in the brown dress, who had sat beside me earlier, bestowed a warm smile. At times like this, I wished I could initiate conversation with ease, but words failed me. Silently holding my glass, I was surprised when she initiated the conversation. "You're Samuel Davis, right? I overheard earlier. Are you a farmer now?" Evidently, she had caught snippets of my exchange with Michelle, yet she didn't seem to be mocking me. "My grandfather runs a farm, and I hope to take over someday." "That sounds lovely." "Well, I can only assist a bit for now." Surprisingly, I found myself able to converse, despite my stumbling words. But the moment was cut short by Michelle's return. "Samuel, hitting on her, are you? Come on, farmers can't pull that off." Laughter erupted at her comment, and she continued, Hey, I heard farmers eat things like locusts. Is that true? Fun? Absolutely not. That's repulsive." Insulted and uncomfortable, my situation deteriorated. I felt responsible for dampening the mood. It was thanks to me that the kind woman in the brown dress had approached someone like me. The idea of leaving the place crossed my mind. Unexpectedly, the woman spoke up. "I've eaten locusts before. And crickets too. They tasted like shrimp, surprisingly good." "What?" This caused a stir, but perhaps due to her attractiveness, her words swayed everyone, shifting their reactions. "I've heard about it too. Eating insects is a trend, right? I've seen it on TV as well. In some foreign places, they even eat crayfish." Their opinions took a positive turn, and the conversation pivoted. Michelle tried to redirect, but the group sided with the woman in the brown dress, tuning out Michelle's attempts. "Samuel, should we leave soon?" Unexpectedly, the woman in the brown dress whisked me away. Perplexed, I followed her down the nightlit street. "Why did you help me? Also, I'm sorry. I haven't asked your name yet." I struggled to recall who she was. Blushing, she answered, "I'm Jennifer Roberts. Remember me? Jennifer? Wait, that Jennifer?" Jennifer was my classmate back in 8th grade. Back then, she wore glasses and had a studious air about her. Her current appearance caught me off guard. "I've wanted to say thank you, Samuel. That's why I brought you out here." "Thank me?" When I inquired, she confessed that she had suffered from school refusal until 7th grade. When she finally mustered the courage to attend, she encountered strange looks and whispers in 8th grade. I truly despised school. That day, on my way home, I tripped and dropped my bag. As I gathered my belongings, feeling miserable, you, Samuel, from the same class, helped me. I distinctly remember that. As I picked up my scattered items, you said, "You know, vegetables won't grow flavorful unless they get sunlight." I didn't grasp your meaning then, but later, I realized you were encouraging me to come to school. Absolutely, that advice felt like the most valuable guidance I could have received back then. It filled me with happiness and motivated me to return to school the following day. Encouraged by those words, she took steps towards a more active life. This newfound determination propelled her through high school, and she began to focus on her appearance as she sought employment, ultimately being scouted as a model. Post-high school, she graced magazine pages and currently contributes to an editorial production company. I don't really thrive in the limelight. I find more comfort behind a desk. I understand. I'm introverted too, facing challenges with social interactions. It's a paradox that someone as stunning as her experiences such feelings, but I can relate. Gradually, I found myself conversing with her candidly. I once believed that becoming a farmer would help me avoid interactions, but now it seems that's not the case. I wondered why, upon sharing the concern my grandpa had raised, she grew contemplative. Before long, she broke the silence, saying, "Samuel, could you share your work with me, just this once?" A few days later, she visited our farm in person, accompanied by a photographer. Apparently, the fusion of youth and agriculture is trendy content these days, and they were planning a special feature. Uncertain about the whole affair, she conducted a thorough interview with my grandpa and me. When the article was published, the response exceeded our expectations. Thanks to her writing, interest spread rapidly, and interview requests from other media poured in. I found myself in the limelight and, in turn, grew accustomed to engaging with people. My grandpa commended, "You found a good friend." Amidst all this, an invitation to a reunion with some old classmates surfaced. Accompanied by Jennifer, I entered the bar to a reception starkly different from before. "Hey, I caught your feature, Samuel. You're doing remarkable. Weren't you featured on a morning show recently? Farming seems so fascinating and different now." Admiration and attention enveloped me. It marked the first time I experienced such treatment, leaving me somewhat surprised. However, a noticeable absence was Michelle, the catalyst behind this transformation. Following the gathering, Jennifer expressed a desire to go somewhere else, and I trailed along. As we entered a bar, there stood Michelle. "Why is Michelle here?" I invited her. "While I was writing your article, I researched local farmers and came across her grandfather's name." Her abrupt explanation caught me off guard, yet Michelle continued her account. "My own grandpa has been a farmer for a long time too. My parents were always busy, so during my childhood, I spent a lot of time with him." Evidently, her grandfather, after retiring from the presidency, turned to farming with aspirations of making a mark through his skills. Unfortunately, things didn't unfold as anticipated, and their crops failed to flourish. During that period, Michelle would accompany her grandpa to the market with their produce, only to consistently end up with unsold vegetables. She questioned why her cherished grandfather's yield never sold, while the vegetables at the neighboring stall, cultivated by a certain James Davis, perpetually sold out. "James Davis? Is that my grandpa?" "Yes, as a child, I believed his vegetables were the reason ours struggled to sell." Naturally, my grandpa never implied such a thing, but I couldn't shake that notion. "Upon discovering in middle school that you were James Davis's grandson, Samuel, my frustration led me to bully you. However, that wasn't the sole reason." She found herself following the path set by her parents, afraid of experiencing failure akin to her grandfather's. "But Samuel, you opted for farming independently. Despite the mockery, you persisted diligently. Although I often receive praise, it invariably ties back to my parents or the company. I can't stand on my own. Why are we so different?" Her words prompted tears to stream down her cheeks. I felt compelled to respond. "Is your grandpa still farming?" "Yes, he is. Could I visit your farm sometime? I'd like to see your field firsthand. I'll bring my grandpa along. Would that be all right? Maybe there's a way I could contribute." Jennifer also expressed interest. Michelle appeared taken aback. "Why, even though I've treated you so poorly?" Admittedly, it was challenging, but perhaps it's the farmer's spirit in me. "I'm curious about your family's produce regardless." Though she had been silent for a while, Michelle wiped her tears and murmured a soft, "Thank you." Following that, I, Jennifer, and my grandpa visited Michelle's grandfather's farm. Grandpa and I offered advice on soil and fertilizers, while Jennifer and Michelle brainstormed methods to spread the word within their local circle. Sales shouldn't be a competition. "Let's collaborate to uplift local farming," Grandpa suggested, to which Michelle enthusiastically agreed with an affirmative nod. Her countenance seemed to radiate more light than ever before. During our teenage years, we were all inexperienced and lacked maturity, often evading challenges due to our fear of failure. Yet, I believe that by basking in the sunlight, we can absorb the nourishment our hearts need. Ultimately, the only option is to trust ourselves and those around us, propelling forward. The day will inevitably arrive when our efforts bear fruit. Regardless of the time it takes, a time will come when we reap the rewards of a well-cultivated life. I hold on to that belief. Despite our earlier blunders and uncertainties, we were all finding our paths, evolving and gaining wisdom. Gradually, Michelle's perception of me transformed, recognizing the determination and resilience that fueled my commitment to farming despite the hurdles. Our individual journeys had led us to a point of mutual comprehension and solidarity. Together, as we embarked on the mission of promoting local farming and uplifting our grandfathers' farms, we unlocked the power of collaboration and the significance of mutual encouragement. Our endeavors began yielding results, not just in terms of farm prosperity but also in terms of personal development and interpersonal connections. The article that chronicled our collaboration garnered an enthusiastic reception, inspiring individuals far and wide. Messages flooded in from those who had faced similar struggles, drawing strength from our narrative. Michelle and I evolved into symbols of conquering adversity and embracing transformation, showcasing that it's never too late to learn, evolve, and create a positive influence. As time passed, our friendship deepened. We candidly shared dreams, fears, and experiences, supporting each other through life's challenges. Michelle's vibrant spirit and confidence harmonized with my introverted demeanor, forging a dynamic partnership that harnessed our strengths to achieve shared aspirations. Ultimately, our journey taught us that triumph extends beyond accomplishments, encompassing the relationships we form, the lessons we grasp, and the growth we undergo along the way. Life comprises opportunities to connect, inspire, and be inspired. And occasionally, those who initially stand as adversaries can evolve into our closest allies and friends. Over the years, the farms flourished, and our endeavors to champion local agriculture yielded fruitful outcomes. Our narrative reached far and wide, emerging as a testament to resilience and metamorphosis. While Michelle continued her role in the editorial production domain, I steered the farm, continually adapting and innovating to stay in step with the evolving times. In retrospection, I recognized that sometimes, the most unforeseen encounters lead to the most profound transformations. A simple act of kindness can trigger a sequence of events that reshape our lives in unforeseeable ways. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm radiance upon the rows of vegetables, a smile formed on my lips. Life had completed its cycle, from a timid young boy to a self-assured farmer, surrounded by friends who believed in him. As long as we persevered in learning, adapting, and bolstering one another, the future stretched ahead, overflowing with endless prospects.